the third chapter, that is control structures. In this chapter, till now we have completed one important subtopic, that is decision making statements. For each kind of decision making statements, we have gone through the flow charts, coding part and the introduction, that syntax and all. In short, we have gone through the implementation part of decision making statements. Now, from this lecture, I am going to start another important topic of this third chapter, that is loops. Now, what is loop statements? What is loop? How it can be implemented? In which case we should implement that? What is the flow chart for loops? And the syntax and the programs. I am going to talk about that, all of this in this topic. In previous topic, I have first gone through the flow chart and then I have given examples and explanation about that topic, that decision making statements. But now I am just changing my method of teaching. In this lecture, I am not just going to introduce loops with you directly using flow chart, but I am first going to show you the need of loops. Why should we need that? So, I am first trying to code and trying to show you the syntaxes, and then after I will show you the flowchart. Okay, so let's begin that. So for that, I have to first open my new project. In this project, I am starting with include stdio.h. Now, what is my problem here? What is the problem? What is the program that I need to implement? I want to print hello for 5 times. So what will you do? Int main, inside that I am writing return 0, and at that I am writing say printf hello. Right? I am writing something like this, and I am just copying this. I am just copying this and pasting it over here. Right? If I just save this program using name loops, if I compile it and execute it, you can see what is printed, hello for the 5 times. Yeah, we can successfully execute the program. Right? Now, if I tell you to print this 10 times, what will you do? I think probably you will do, copying this code 2 times. So, you will get 10 times hello. Now, my mind changed. Now, I am telling you to execute this 100 times. What is happening over here? Same statement, that is printf. Inside that I have used word hello. I am executing the statements say 10 times, 11 times, 50 times, 100 times, lakhs of times. Similar statement. Should I do this Lego work? Literally, no. This is not a habit of good code. This is not a good code. This is not the efficient optimized code. I can do that with using loops. So what exactly the loop is? I am starting with something, then I am giving condition that until I reach this condition, I will execute this statement. Right? Now what will be the syntax, what kind of loops are there, I am going to explain. But right now just understand the need of loop, right? Why we should use loop. Now, if I want to implement this using loop, then I am going to talk about one type of loop, that is for loop. F-O-R, for loop. What is the syntax for that? I am going to show you in this program. Then after we are going to talk about some other loops as well. But right now I am just showing the loop part. What exactly the loop is? Loop overview. So if I want to implement this using loops, then I can use for loop also, I can use while loop also. There are many types of loop. First is for loop, second is while loop, third is do while loop. See, I am going to explain the flowcharts and details and overviews once after I complete this program. So don't worry if I am just talking right now, right? Now, what about the loops? If I want to implement this using for loop, I just need to write for, and inside the brackets, I have to put 3 parts. So, I have to use 2 semicolons. This is must. If I am writing for loop, what is must? 2 semicolons are must. Whether you use any condition or not, whether you use anything else or not. But 2 semicolons are must. Now, in first part, this you can see the 3 segments, right? These 3 segments. In first segment, I am going to put the initial condition. Suppose I want to print hello 5 times, then I have to start with some one time, and then I have to go till 5 times. So in first place, I am going to say start some starting condition. You can say that first is initialization. Right? First is initialization. So I am initializing it, say, I cannot directly write 1. Right? What is 1? You know that in program I have to use variables. So I am using variable I, which is initially 1. So I is initialized as 1. Then what will be the second part? Second part will be condition. Right? So what is the condition over here? How many times I should loop or say execute? I should be executed, say here according to my program it should be executed 5 times. So I am writing I is less than or equal to 5, or you can also write I is say greater than less than 6. Any condition you can write that. So second part is all about condition. Now I is initially 1, but I should reach till 5. So value of I must be incremented each time once loop is executed. So that's why in third part I am writing I++. We know about this operator, right? We have already studied this in fundamentals of C. So I++, after each iteration, the value of I will be increased. Clear? So first is all about initialization. I am just deciding the limits. In first I am deciding the lower limit. In second I am deciding the higher limit. And in third I am deciding the steps, like say increment. Also, if you don't want to do something like this, you can also use something like, I'm showing you the other way. You can write something as I equal to 5. So I'm initializing I as 5. It's okay to initialize I as 5. After that, I'm checking the condition whether I is greater than 0 or not. Yes, for I equal to 5, I is greater than 0. So loop is once executed. Then I equal to, then I must be 4. Right? I should be decremented. So for I should be decremented, I am writing I minus minus. Simple. So first I will be 5. It will check the condition. If the condition is true, then only it can go inside the loop. It will execute whatever written inside the loop and come out of the loop and check and decrement I. So now I become 4. Now it will check the condition if 4 is greater than 0 or not. Yes, then it will again go inside the loop, execute something inside the loop and come out of it. Now it will decrease I will become 3. It will again check this. This is happening until I become 1. When I become 1, condition is true, go inside loop, execute something, block of statement inside loops, and it will come out of that. Then after it will decrease I by 0. Now I greater than 0 or not is condition. This condition is false. So now it cannot be entered inside loop. So exactly 5 times printed my statement inside that in loop. So here if I just write to write hello inside the semicolon, I should write this, and for the sake of simplicity I am writing /n. If I save this program, compile it and run it, what is the issue? I was not declared here. What is this error? See, I have used I, but I have not declared I. In the part of variable, we have already studied that whatever variable I am going to use throughout my program should be declared first. So I should write, say, int I equal to, or say simple I. If I just save this program, compile it and run it, you can see hello is printed 5 times. So see how small the code is. Even if you want to print it 100 times, just need to change something else 100 over here. Just save the program, compile it and run it. See, this is printed 100 times. I know this is the partial screen, but you can see, right, this is printed 100 times. So how simpler loops makes our code. Loop makes our code so simple and so optimized and efficient. Let me show you another example for loop. So what I'm going to do in another example, I am not just printing hello. I want to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to say 10. I want to print that for 10 times. Now if I want to print that for 10 times, I am starting I with 1 up to 10. This you know. So I am starting I with 1 and I should be less than or equal to 10 and I is incremented. Now you know that you can use increment as well as decrement inside your step part, right? Third part. But here what is the problem? I just don't want to count the number of times my loop is executing. The statement inside loop is executing. I want to print that count. I want to print the actual value of I. I just don't want to print hello, right? I want to print the value of I. When value of I is 1, I want to print that. When value of I becomes 2, I want to print that. When value of I is 3, I want to print that, right? So what is to be done? I should write %d and here I should write I/n. See, do you understand what I have done? I want to start I with 1. So in this case, you can't start I with 10. In the previous case, I was just using I as a count. Like number of times loop is executing. I just want to print hello. So value of I doesn't matter. I just want to count number of times I is incremented or decremented. So at that time, I can use either initialization of I as I equal to 1 or I equal to 10. But now I just don't want to just say count the number of times the count of execution of statements. I don't want that. What I want to print that count that from 1 to 10 it is executing. So that's why I have to write I as 1. Then I will show you that what if you write I as 10, what will be happening. So here let me just save this program and if I compile it and run it, you can see I is incremented. See, first value of I was 1. So I was 1. One more thing I want to clear is whenever initialization is being done, it will be done for the first time only. So the first part of loop, that is initialization, in here you can write something as increment or decrement. Step part. So whenever initialization is being done, it will be done for the first time only. In each iteration, only the loop condition will be checked, and after the loop control comes out of the loop, the value of I is decremented or incremented based on the syntax I have written. So here, only one time I will be initialized as 1. Now 1 is less than or equal to 10, so it will print I. At that time, whatever value is there inside the value of inside the variable I will be printed. So right now the value of variable I is carrying the value 1. So So one is printed on the screen, then new line is, so it is going to the new line and come out of the loop. As soon as it encountered this closing bracket, it will just increment value of I. So now the new value of I become 2. So as it becomes 2, now it will not again initialize it, it will directly check the condition. That is, if 2 is less than or equal to 10 or not. Yes, it is 10, so condition is true, so it can go inside the loop and it will execute the statement. Now it is printing, say, printf value of I. But right now value of I is updated to 2. So 2 is printed and similar thing is happening for each value of I. I hope you understand this concept. Now what is happening if I am initializing value of I as a 10 over here and here I am writing something as greater than 0. See, value of I, see, this condition is a key to the loop. If key is right, that means the condition is true, then only it can go inside the loop. Understand? So here I is equal to 10, I is greater than 0, I plus plus, but instead of that I would write I minus minus. If I just save this program, compile it and run it, you can see it is printing from 10. I am getting the output of 1 to 10. Value of I is printed but in reverse order. It is starting with 10 and ending with 0. Say 1 because condition is I greater than 0. So this is all about loops. This I am using for loop over here just to show you that how can you use loop. In next lecture I'll show you how can you use while loop as well as do while loop. Once I'm going through all of this type of loop, I'll give some introduction about loop. So right now what I'm doing, I'm just giving you the practical example of loops and then I'll go to the theoretical part because loops are very important. In exam it may ask you about write a short note on for loop, while loop or do while loop. So you have to write the general syntax, flow chart and some explanation about that. But what if you don't understand it? So I want to make it clear that first you understand it and then you will just easily remember the flow chart. You don't need to mug up, right? So this is all about for loop. In next lecture I'm going to talk about while loop. I hope you enjoyed this class. See you in the next lecture. Thank you so much. And yeah, if you have any doubt and if you have any comment, then you can just comment below the comment section. Thank you.